Advaitam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Sha Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Om Vishnupadaya Gaura Prishtaya Bhutare Srimate Bhaktivedanta Vanayati Namane Shamarani Matram Vande Agnopiyara Nugraha Tagarat Bhava Sagadachcha Nabetcha Krishna Premadhanam Namo Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayaneti Namine Shri Krishna Nirkatane Sudaksham Udarya Madhurya Guneshta Yuktam Ramdvaranyam Purushan Mahantam Narayanam Tvam Shirasa Namami Namo Om Vishnupadaya Kesha Prishtaya Bhutare Srimate Bhaktivedanta Vaminiti Namine Namaste Gaura Bhavamayo Deha Dvarara Sabhavaka Bhaktivedanta Vamano Rag Bhakti Pravartaka Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutare Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Vishtatya Deshatarine Namo Om Vishnupadaya Gaura Prishtaya Bhutare Srimate Bhakti Pragyana Keshavayeti Namine Atimarcha Charitraya Svashitanam Chapaline Chivaruke Sadarthaya Janama Premadayine Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutare Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Tinamine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Dayataya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Prabhave Namaha Madhuyajvala Premadya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktida Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Shri Murte Tisarine Rupanuga Varuda Pasidanta Tvanta Harine Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambara Sambodhe Padambo Jayate Namaha Namo Bhaktivinodaya Sachidananda Namine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varayate Gaura Vibhava Bhumesvam Nirjesta Sajjana Priyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Shri Jagannatayate Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauradvishe Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jayatam Suratur Pangur Mama Mandamater Gati Matsarvasva Parambo Joshi Radha Madana Mohanu Divya Vrindaranya Kapadru Madha Shrimadannagara Simhastanashto Shishirada Shira Govinda Devo Preshalibi Sivimano Smurami Shriman Rasarasarambi Vam Shivanta Tatashtitaham Karshan Venus Vaner Gopir Gopinata Shri Estuna Vrindaye Tulasi Devyaye Priyaye Keshavasya Cha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavate Namo Namaha Panchatatvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasani Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Rama Rama Hare Hare. Okay, I'm going to try to change keys since we're clearly in one's a little too low for the girls. I'm not like very expert at harmonium, but I'm going to try anyway. Krishna hoite chato mukha hoya Krishna sevan mukha Rama hoite Naradera Mahati Narada hoite Vyasa Madhvaka ahe Vyasa dasa Purna pragna Padmana Bhagavati Nihari Madhava Vamshe Akshobhya param hamse Shishambari angi karakore Akshobhya shisha jaya Tirtaname parichaya Taradasya gyana sindhu tohore Taha hoite doya nidhi Taradasya vidya nidhi Rajendra hoilo taha hoite Tahara kinkara jaya Dhamaname parichaya Parampara jana paramohate Jaya dharma dase gati Shri purusha dhamma jati Dajate brahmanyam tita sohori Vyasate tatara dasa Lakshmi pati vyasa dasa Taha hoite Madhavendra puri Madhavendra puri vada shisha vada shiyeshvadam Nityananda shri advaita vibhum Ishvara puri kedanya gauri lanya shri chaitanya Shakaguru gaura mahaprabhu Mahaprabhu Shri Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nayanya Rupanuga Jani Rajivana Vishvambara Priyankara Shri Swarupa Damodara Shri Goswami Rupa Sanatana Rupa Priya Mahajana Jiva Raghunatahana Tara Priya Kavi Krishna Dasa Krishna Dasa Priya Vadandara Tama Seva Pada Janapada Vishwanatha Asha Vishwanatha Bhakta Sata Baladeva Jagannatha Tanapriya Shri Bhakti Vinoda Mahabhagavata Vada Shri Gaura Kishora Vada Harivajanati Jadamoda Shiva Shava Navivada Sada Sevya Seva Pada Tada Ita Dasanama Prabhupada Antaranga Shri Swarupa Rupanuga Shike Shava Vakati Pragyana Gaudiya Vedanta Ved Maya Varota Mohanta Gauravani Prachara Chanda Ama Pracharira Gauravani Bhakati Vedanta Swami Parira Prabhupada Rama Keshapriya Mahajana Vamanana Dayanhana Gauravani Tade Pranadana Esava Hari Jana Gaurangera Nija Jana Tadera Uchiste Modakama Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara Guru Parampara. Thanks. You know, Guru Devi, I do want to try to impress you because of how proud I am. I don't usually play in that key, so I was just figuring it out as I go the whole time. I know. This one might be tough. I only started learning this one the other day, so it might be. Okay. Page 36. Vrindavanavasi Jato Vaishnavera Gahana Pratame Vandana Kori Sabara Charana Nilachara Vasi Jato Mahaprabhu Gana Bhumite Pondiya Vando Sabara Charana Navadvipa Vasi Jato Mahaprabhu Bhakta Sabara Charana Vando Hoyanurakta Mahaprabhu Bhakta Jato Gaura Deshe Shiti Sabara Charana Vando Kariya Pranati Jedeshe Vaise Gaurangera Gana Urvabahu Kari Vando Sabara Charana Hoyachena Hoyibena Prabhu Jato Dasa Sabara Charana Vando Dante Korigasha Brahmanda Torite Shakti Dare Jane Jane Eveda Purane Gunan Jaya Jevashune Mahaprabhu Gana Sabha Patita Pavana Tailo Bemui Papilo Inusharanam Bandana Korite Mui Gato Shakti Dori Tamo Buddhi Doshe Mui Damba Machakori Tatapi Mukera Bhagya Manera Ulasa Dokshakshami Muadame Koroni Jandasa Sava Vancha Siri Oi Yama Banda Trute Jagate Dolava Hoi Prema Dana Lute Manera Vasana Puna Hachirate Hoya Devaki Nandana Dasa Elo Bekoya Jayo Vaishnava Tako Jayo Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jayo Vaishnav Thakur, Jayo Vaishnav Thakur, Jayo Vaishnav Thakur, Vaishnav Thakur, Jayo Vaishnav Thakur. Okay. Page 200. Gurudevi. Reading. You're going to the dentist? Nope. Wow. Chapter 5? Okay. Let's go. We made it to Nishta. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasari Gauda Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jivedoya Kori Svapashada Sviya Dhamma Sahavatari Atyanta Durlabha Prema Kari Varidana Shikaye Sharanagati Vakatera Prana Danya Atmani Vedana Gomtripve Varana Avashadakshibe Krishna Vishvasapalana Bhakti Anukula Matra Kayera Svikara Bhakti Pratikura Baba Vajanangikara Sharanga Sharanagati Oibejara Tahara Pratana Shune Shinanda Kumara Lupasanatana Pare Dante Trinakori Bhakti Vinoda Pade Dupada Dori Kandiya Kandiya Bole Amito Adama Shikaye Sharanagati Karahe Utama Jaya Swarparshada Jaya Gaurahari Swarparshada Jaya Gaurahari Jaya Swarparshada Jaya Gaurahari Swarparshada Jaya Gaurahari. Page. Anybody want to lead for Gaur Nitai? Sure. What page is it? If you like, in the back of the book, it goes by alphabet. Page 45.
Kirupe Paibo Seva. Wait. Guru. Well, now I don't know it. Rati Naholo Amara Kiupe Paibo Seva Moidora Chara Shri Guru Vaishnava Rati Naholo Amara Shamayati Mana Magana Hoila Vaishnavitile Shamaja Radina Jamilo Vishaye Boliyanda Hoino Divanishi Dale pasadite pire, Maya se pishachi, Ihare Kwariya Jaya, Charanana Jaya, Sadhu Kripa Vinara, Nahika Upaya. Adosha Tadashi Prabhu Patita Uttara Ebala Narotame Kalaho Nistara Jaya Vaishnav Thakur Jaya Vaishnav Thakur Vaishnav Thakur Jaya Vaishnav Thakur Yeah. You want me to?
Oh no, you can. Oh, okay, I can try.
Yeah, try it.
Alright. Alright, today is your live stream debut.
David's not here, so I can totally mess it up and no one cares. We need someone to help me end it because once I finish, I don't know where to go. So, let's see. Okay. Radha Krishna Pranamora Yugala Kishore Radha Krishna Pranamora Yugala Kishore Jivane Marane Gati Arinahi Mora Kalindira Kuli Keli Kadamberavana Abnira Kule Keli Kadamberavana Ratana Vedira Upar Bosa Bodhujana Shama Gori Ange Indi Bojua Chandanera Ganda Chamarandula Bokabe Heribo Mukachandra Gatiya malatira mala dibado hargale. Adare tulia dibo karpura tambule. Lalita Vishaka Adi Jato Saki Vrinda. Agyaya Koribo Seva Charanaravinda. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Daseranu Dasa. Seva Bilasha Kore Narottama Dasa. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare. Haribol, 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 Nitai Gora Haribol. Haribol. Take the mic over there.
Like a 5-minute Maha mantra.
I do? No. Why not? Oh my god.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Gaur Premanande.
Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha Yam Pravrajantam Anupetam Apetya Kritam Dvaipagino Virahaka Taruha Juhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taruvobhanedus Tam Sarvam Bhuta Hridayam Munimanatosmi Bhaktya Vihina Aparadha Lakshay Chiptascha Kamaritarangamadye Kripamaitvam Sharanam Prapana Brinde Numaste Charanarvindam Tevai Vasmi Najivami Tvayam Vina Iti Vigyaya Radhe Tvam Nayamam Charanantike. And I offer my unlimited obeisances to the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Guru Srila Bhaktivedanta Van Kosamaraj, my Shiksha Guru Pujaniya Shrimati Shamrani Didi, our illustrious grandfather gurus Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Gosamaraj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Gosamaraj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Vaman Gosamaraj, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Our entire Rupanu Guru Varga, and to everybody here. So, Guru Devi has given me, thankfully, the opportunity to continue off with her reading of Sri Bhajan Rahasya, the confidential secrets of bhajan, or worship. When Srila Bhaktivedanta Madhav Maharaj was here, I asked him, what does bhajan mean? And I actually asked him for a verse so I could understand, like, what is bhajan. And surprisingly, he didn't respond with a verse, but he said that what he said seemed to mean that bhajan is sadhan performed with realization. So sadhan, we're doing a certain practice, we're chanting, we're hearing, we're remembering. Bhajan seems to be like we've realized like some of the truths around what we're hearing, and we're performing those limbs with a specific aim in mind. That's at least what it sounded like to me. So what we've been learning from Bhajan Rahasya, which is written by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, translated by Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Gosamaraj and commentary by him. And it's a collection of verses, but not just collect any random verses, not just a collection, but specifically to nourish one's bhajan throughout the day. Because as one becomes more advanced in the practice, one wants to remember specific things related to Radha, Krishna, and their pastimes, and one's own development during specific times of the day. So the day is broken up into 8 parts, and those 8 parts correspond to at least 4 things, including the pairs of the Maha Mantra. So Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. The 8 steps along the way from Shraddha to Prem: Shraddha, Anartha Shraddha, Bhajana Kriya, Shraddha, Sadhusanga, Bhajana Kriya, Anartha Vritti, Ruchi, Anartha Vritti, Nishta, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav, and then Prem. And the 8 parts of the day in the Leela that Radha and Krishna perform, the Ashtakaliya Leela, and the 8 parts of Shikshastakam, the 8 verses. So we started actually with what is the goal. So chapters 7 and 8, which were around Bhav and Prem. And then we've gone back. Guru Devi said we need to know what our goal is. If we're going to get somewhere, we have to know what our goal is. I've heard the example of, say we want to go to London. Say we're not just going to show up to the airport, we're going to get a random plane. You know, if you show up to the airport and get a random plane, it's very low odds you're going to get to where you want to go. You have to buy your ticket, and you want to buy your ticket in advance. This is the analogy has to do with death. You don't want to wait until the time of death, because then you're not really guaranteed a seat. But we're doing our practice because it's guaranteeing us a seat on the plane, so to say. We don't want to be on standby. And we don't even want to just hopefully get to the airport and hopefully get to the right destination. So that's why we're doing these practices. And so today we're starting on Nishta. Does anybody here know what Nishta is? Shraddha's faith. Nishta means to be fixed, like you're very steady. So like your Nishta and your Guru is like you're just steady and focused on your Guru and their, and everything that's coming from them and related to them. That's you're fixed. You're fixed in your determination. I think the 3rd verse of Upadeshamrita. I don't think it's Nishta. It's Utsahan Nishchaya. Sounds like Nishta, so it might be similar words, and it does mean patience in the face of obstacles. Or sorry, I just burped and they could hear it on the live stream. Or fortitude in the... Oh wait, is Nishta... that might be Daryat. Sorry, Utsahan Nishchaya. Nishchaya is actually faith in the word of Shastra and Guru, whose words are in line with Shastra. So faith, it's like a similar, and what I've heard also about the progressive steps from Shraddha up to Prem is that it's a condensing of faith. So it starts with faith and it just gets more and more condensed. So, Nishta Bhajan. Nishta is related, so we're on now the 3rd chapter. It's being considered the 3rd limb on the way up to Prem. So I guess we, like Shraddha and Sadhu Sangha must have been together, and then Bhajana Kriya, Nartana Vritti, and Nishta. So we've now made it through our anartas. We're hearing about all the anartas that we have to go through. Does anybody here know what anarta means?
Something that's not truth or meaning, or like the opposite of artha.
Exactly. Artha is value, and anartha means it has no value. So it's things that have no value to us. We heard there are 4 main anartas. Hridoya Durbaya, so weakness of the heart. Asat Trishna, so thirst for material enjoyment. Let me see if I can remember. I don't think I would be able to remember them. And let me see, though, if it's specifically given somewhere that I can quickly... Oh, there we go. There's Swarup Brahm, so then ignorance of our identity. And the 4th one is Swarup Brahm, Asat Trishna. Oh, and then aparads. And so we probably have heard this word aparad a few times too. Do we know what aparad means? Yeah. Radha, in this case, it's like pleasure. Aparadha, it's things that are going against that which brings pleasure.
Is it the same as an offense? Is aparad, or is that a separate? Same thing.
It's typically translated as offenses. So, personally, like because of my thinking of like what an offense means, I'm like, it's it seems like the like whatever offense means is like different than what I typically think of like acting offensively. Like an offense to the holy name is to uh, equate to equate the effects of chanting the holy name to be like just another material activity, or to be that the glories of it are made up, and I like it's I don't necessarily have to be doing an action in order to be doing those things. So to me, it's like, oh, it's just my behavior is offensive, which to me like also then translates into, okay, like these things have built up over time. So it's I have like misconceptions, misideas, and I'm attached to conceptions and ideas that are going against that which brings pleasure. That's I realize that's like a little bit too much speculation, but that's what I'm trying to share.
Is it an offense to not have nishta?
Somewhat. Like, it's kind of. There's. The 10th offense to the holy name is to still maintain material attachments, even though one's heard the glories of the holy name. So it's. In fact, actually, most of the offenses to the holy name are still having some taste for something else or some desire for something else, like equating the names of other demigods to be equal to chanting the Maha Mantra, or sinning on the strength of chanting the holy name. So these are, it's like it implies a lack of nishta. Like as if you're fixed, you have no reason to go anywhere else. But in all the offenses, you're going somewhere else. So yeah. At the same time, then for me, it brings up the question of, well, obviously I'm not in nishta, because we've been hearing about all these things. There's in Madhurya Kadambini, which is where we hear the steps on the way to prema. There's one where it's like well defined that you're in. I think you're in Bhajana Kriya if you get sleepy during japa chanting or Harikirtan. I'm like, I do. Like, I fall asleep while chanting more often than I need to admit, or more often than I want to. I want to be able to be more resolute. But so then I know, okay, that means I'm somewhere within Bhajana Kriya. I'm not at an Artanavritti. Of course, these are also like gradations. It's not as like cut and dry. I'm from a very, Western mindset of like very mechanical, of like, okay, now I've passed the test from Shota. Now I'm in Sadhusanga, whereas it's more like these are things happening on scales and waves. So we could be experiencing parts of Nishta while still like more fully being in Bhajana Kriya. I'm trying to think, because I think I've actually heard from somebody that is like that I'm not just totally BSing, like that's actual like how it goes, that it's not just like very blank, cut, and dry. But I can't quote who. So, sorry. So, this stage, which is Nishta, it also relates to the Krishna Krishna, part of the Maha Mantra, and Shikshastakam verse 3. Who here knows verse 3 of Shikshastakam? It's the very famous one. Hmm? Do you know the
One who is qualified to chant the holy names must think of themselves as lower than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree. I messed up.
No, you're good.
Expect no honor for himself, but give due respect to all others. Is qualified to perpetually chant the holy name of Shri.
So for everybody on live stream, Purnamasi is said the well-known verse Trinadapi Sunichayatna, Turorapi Sahishnuna, Amanina Manandena, Kirtaniya Sadahari. And she told us that the translation is that one who thinks themselves lower than a blade of grass, or is more tolerant than a tree, who is prideless and expects no honor for himself, is able to give due respects to all others, but expect none in return, is able to chant the holy names of Sri Hari. So to me, this brings up a lot of questions. How does that mean that one is in Nishta? So let's see. So in his commentary, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami, this might actually be his translation of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's commentary. I forgot exactly how this is structured. Okay, so it says that 4 symptoms observed in sadhaks, practitioners who chant the holy name of Sri Krishna free from all offenses are 1. Natural humility born of complete detachment from sense objects. 2. Pure compassion devoid of envy. 3. Purity of heart and freedom from false ego. And 4. An attitude of respect towards everyone according to their position. Wow, that sounds like really, not just like rare, but like, who actually like gets there in this life? That's pretty wild. So to roar a piece, and very rare, I mean, that's wild, to meet somebody their heart was so clear that they're naturally humble just because they're completely detached from sense object. They're devoid of envy. It's crazy. And they have no false ego, and they're able to give respect towards everyone according to their position. That's their natural mindset. So, Terora Pisahishna refers to the tolerance of a tree. A tree is so tolerant that it does not forget to show kindness by offering its cool shade and sweet fruits even to the person who comes to cut it down. There's a pastime of, there was a king surveying his kingdom, and he sat beneath a mango tree. And then these boys came up, and they really wanted the tasty mangoes, and they threw stones to get the mangoes. But one of those stones landed in the king's eye and blinded him. And so the king's 2 guards drew out their swords, ready to cut off the kids' heads. And they go up to the kids, and the king says, "Stop!" Like, what do you mean? These kids just blinded you. You're our king. Its eye is bleeding. He goes, "What do you think I am? You think I'm lower than this tree?" It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Then with their swords up. And he says, "This tree, they're throwing their rocks at the tree, and yet the tree is still giving them its fruits. Give these boys half my kingdom." And so true tolerance, the true tolerance of the tree is that people are doing all these things to the tree, but still, regardless, not even thinking, it's sharing its fruits completely freely. So since Krishna's devotees are even more merciful than a tree, they show kindness to all, both friend and enemy. This is a compassion completely free from envy. It's reminding me of Prahlad Maharaj. Although such devotees, in his instructions to his father, he's saying how, "My dear father," this is Srimad Bhagavatam 789, "please give up your demoniac mentality. Do not distinguish in your heart between enemy and friend. Make your mind equipoised towards everyone. Except for the uncontrolled and misguided mind, there is no enemy in this world. When one comes to see everyone on the platform of equality, one comes to the position to worship the Lord perfectly." So this description is reminding me a lot of Prahlad Maharaj, who is described as a Shuddha Bhakti. Actually, he might be a Gyan Bhakti. Jnani, like but not Jnani and like he's after impersonal speculative knowledge and liberation, but Jnani and like he has pure knowledge of the Supreme. So although such devotees are in the topmost kingdom of bhakti, they remain free from pride. They know that Krishna resides in the hearts of all living entities, and therefore give all living entities appropriate respect. Yeah, Prahlad talks about this in Prahlad Richa a lot. There's a verse in the 7th chapter of the 7th canto, how one who's at that at that stage can see. Oh, I was just reading it yesterday. It's something Svarva Butani. Okay, I'm getting it wrong. Anyway, oh no, Hari Svanena Butena. 7:32, 31. Anyway, 7:32, and he's saying how a person, eventually you're seeing the Lord in the hearts of all living entities, and therefore you're giving respect to them. So such persons are truly eligible to perform Krishna Nam Kirtan, and only performers of Sri Krishna Nam Kirtan attains Krishna Prema. That still gives me a little bit question still of how does that mean Nishta? So I will move on to the next verse. Maybe we'll learn soon. So the features of surrender are given in the verse in the Vaishnava Tantra, which comes from Hari Bhakti Vilas 11.676. We were singing a song based off this verse today. Anukulyasna sankalpa pratikulyasya varjanam rakshisyati vishvaso gopitrevanam varanam tata atmanikshepa karpanye sadvidha sharanagati. So the 6 types of surrenders are 1. So the 6 types of surrender are 1, to give up all, to accept that which is favorable to Krishna Bhakti, to give up that which is unfavorable, to have firm faith that Bhagavan Shri Krishna will protect me, to have dependence, thinking Bhagavan will take care of me, to be fully surrendered, Atma Samarpana, and to be humble. This is also sounding very, wow. So it says that the symptom of Sharanagati in one-pointed devotees is that they perpetually engage in service to their worshipful Lord Prabhu and accept whatever he arranges. Such devotees accept whatever punishment is given by Bhagavan as his mercy. They know that every action takes place only due to the desire of Krishna, and therefore they unite their desire with Krishna's and thus remain peaceful. This, for me, this is a little bit hard to swallow. At least at my early stage, I'm coming to the realization of oh, this is God on the altar. We're in God's house. Wild, It's really kind of wild, I see them, I'll be honest, I see them more in a, I guess, Lakshmi Narayan kind of way, which is what Guru Devi has said to us. She's here you worship them like Lakshmi Narayan. We worship them as though they're Lakshmi Narayan. It's very regulated schedule. For me, I see a lot of opulence. It's a golden marble altar. They're wearing a lot of gold and beautiful jewelry. They're very bright and beautiful, and I'm starting to at least try to and this is all still mental conceptions, but it's okay, well then, this, even if I'm seeing them as that way, as this royal king and queen, that's great, because at least then I know have a sense that I'm worshiping, have a sense of relationship, have a sense of realness, not of just total airy-fairy, I'm just believing what, but okay, I'm actually developing that sense, and then maybe later, and I have the faith that then later on that comes oh, the confidential pastimes between Radha and Krishna, so that I know them as more than just the king and queen, is what really can arise in my heart and what our goal is. But that's kind of right now blocked by this veneer of, they are the topmost. And so it's hard for me to swallow as I'm still coming into that realization or acceptance. I think acceptance. But if I can, then it makes it then makes sound this Sharanagi, this surrender, much easier, because if I can accept okay, this is the penultimate king and queen of the universe, of all of creation. Okay, I was thinking the other day how, somebody I've had students in classes become very challenging, and I'm huh, so I try to think of other analogies in order to be able to explain at least how one can conceive of this in their own life, and how they have similar beliefs even if they don't realize it. Because the challenge is how can you know if you don't see? And it's it's like, well, at the end of the day, like we have to follow the president. We're under the president's rule and order. Yes, we can see them on this screen, on our screens, but we don't actually know them. We're very distant from them in space. You know, the like they are, at least we're just distanced from them in time. We're distanced from them in time, but not necessarily in space. And if I could actually understand this philosophy, we're not even distant from them in time. It's just my conception that it's a distance in time. But at the very least, I can understand that I'm still following somebody's rule and order, whether or not I'm directly engaging with them, whether or not I'm directly like speaking to them in the way that I want to speak. I can't actually engage with the president in like is talking terms like this, not from any ideological sense, but from I can't get in contact with him, no matter what I do. So it's actually a really similar situation. It's all about which authority to follow, and then that comes with this initial first step of faith. What is faith? You know, can I have that faith that, at least this is for me, like, how can I have that faith that, okay, this really is real, you know? I still, I'm like, okay, like, they're marble, but they're not, but like, you know, how can I really know that, and how can I cultivate that? And so, I know I've moved a little bit from Nishta, from Sharanagati, but I guess like what I've shared and what I've said, actually, the response to a challenging student was, you know, I don't really know. And at this point, we were talking about Lord Brahma. I'm like, I don't really know that there's a four-headed man sitting on a lotus growing from a four-armed man's navel at the bottom of the universe, and I will probably never see it. I don't really need to go to see it, you know? But I do know that there's something really special about Guru Devi. And I know that I trust that, and I can feel that, and I've developed that trust over time. At first, it is like an initial, like, you know, hey, do I trust, don't I trust? But it's like baby steps. And then it can become much larger steps. And then it can become like really large steps. And then if she looks at me and says, hey, there's a four-headed man sitting on a lotus that's growing from a navel of a four-armed man at the bottom of the universe, and he's also like the four-armed man's lying on an ocean made of his sweat, that, you know, okay, cool, whatever, great, she's telling me, like, okay, I believe her, you know? I'd rather just believe her than believe the lying and cheating on the news, you know, like, because I know that that's lying and cheating, and I know that, at least like with her, there's something different and special that I'd rather try to pursue what she has to say. And so, like, so we're hearing how, oh man, I was trying to try to relate this back to what we were hearing in Sharanagati. So we were hearing how so I'll try to relate it back to Sharanagati of like, we get to cultivate it, or at least I'm seeing that I get to cultivate that over time. I get to cultivate that over time, and for me, like, the mercy is that a bona fide representative is here, a bona fide representative that can really stand up to any of my steps, you know, my steps and challenges in that way, and then like really cleanse and purify so that I can start to become more of like, okay, this is something I really can surrender to. I do want to only do things that are for Krishna Bhakti. I really do want to get rid of things that are unfavorable to it. I do really want to try and see, what does it mean Bhagavan will protect me? I do really want to like live in that like really dependent state of Bhagavan will take care of me. And I do want to learn, you know, like, how can I be like fully self-surrendered? What does that even mean, fully self-surrendered? And to be humble. So, and like then when things come up and it's like, how do I be humble? How do I not get angry? You know, how do I like keep myself in check when it's like, I have every right to be angry? And it's funny, is that's actually a symptom of somebody who's really advanced in bhakti. It's given in Madhurya Kadamini, how the external symptoms that are typically seen of like so deeply attached to Harikata. They're rolling and crying and all these things. It's given like, oh, that can be very easily faked, but what can't be faked are more the internal symptoms of, such as a Vaishnav never gets angry, or a person who's advancing on the path. I think this is like really high up there. This is like they're getting into Bhav. But even though they have every reason to be offended, they still don't get angry. That's like, whoa. And so, a devotee does not think that Krishna has sent him into this world to suffer miseries, but he has chosen the miseries of this world by misusing this independence. That's a really hard pill to swallow. It's taken me like a lot, at least like a bit of time to like internally come to terms with, of like, I'm suffering because I chose this. I'm here, I'm in God's house, and I've had to suffer all this time because I picked it. Why did I pick to suffer? And then it's like, well, you wanted your own independence. So, the symptom of Sharanagati is that one gives up the false conception of being the doer and takes shelter. Oh, there we go. See, now if I just read a little more, it already brought it back together. The symptom of Sharanagati is that one gives up the false conception of being the doer and takes shelter of Guru and the Vaishnavas. It's like, it's tough to give up the conception of being the doer. At least for me. For me, like, we're in America, you know? To give up the conception of being the doer, when that's, like, drilled into you from very early on, is, like, wild. So the intrinsic characteristics of surrender is acceptance of Krishna as one's maintainer, and the remaining 5 symptoms are marginal characteristics. So the main symptom of surrender is that one can see Krishna as their only maintainer. Firm faith that Sri Krishna will always maintain me is the meaning of Goptripre Varanam. In Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna says, for those who are always absorbed, the Sanskrit is Tesham Nuktavyuktanam Yogashimam Vahamyaham. So Sri Krishna says, for those who are always absorbed in thoughts of me and who worship me by every means with one pointed devotion, I myself preserve what they have and carry what they lack. He also says, my devotees will never be destroyed. In the 2nd and 3rd verses of Upadeshamrita, Sri Rupa Goswami has explained that 2 of the marginal characteristics of Sharanagati, acceptance of that which is favorable and giving up that which is unfavorable, and those verses were explained earlier in Bhajana Rahasya. So, we're hearing about Nishta and what Nishta is. Let's see. Kula Shekhar. So, one must first give up the false identification with this material body. The Mukunda Mala 37 says, this frail body, which is made of 5 elements and connected by hundreds of joints, is certain to decline. Consequently, the body will be burnt to ashes, will become food for worms, and transformed to excrement. O foolish and wicked mind, you have decorated such a disgusting body with a senseless attachment. The elixir of Sri Krishna Nam is the only powerful medicine to cure this disease of material existence. You should constantly drink it by incessantly chanting Krishna's holy names. It's like a lot of the bhajans and verses of our acharyas, they seem at least like on an external value like very harsh. Like there's a lot of verse lines from Lochan Das Thakur about the worship of Nitai, like one who hasn't worshipped my Nitai knowingly commits suicide. Nitai's over there. Knowingly commits suicide. Or I I never want to see somebody who hasn't worshipped Nitai. And it's a bit like, whoa, like that's intense. So it's also a reminder, though, it's like a reminder of many things, of how for us it's like our attachment, or at least my attachment to like this material conception is really deep, is really difficult. It is like I am really, really attached to this body, and the Krishna Nam is not only is an extremely powerful medicine. I'm reading that it is the powerful medicine. It's the only powerful medicine. That's another, like, for me, really tough pill to swallow. Does that mean everybody else is on the wrong path? They're never going to do it? Which I think it comes to the question is, what is their goal and what is the goal? What is their goal? What is our goal? Right and wrong path, X, Y, and Z. Like what we hear from Guru Devi is that Krishna consciousness is the common denominator for all religions. And the reason why is that what all religions aim is to cure birth, disease, death, and old age. It is about overcoming the material conception of life, knowing who I truly am and what it is that I am meant to do. That is what true religion does. And so it's not that the other paths are wrong, it's that this chanting of the holy name is really that potent and that strong. And that potent and that strong and that it can truly get us to that goal. Although that goal sounds kind of like, on the one hand, like saying it sounds very like, oh yeah, no problem. I'm not this body. Done. It's another thing to actually get there. And what's really incredible about this too is that for most paths, that is the end goal. Like we hear how impersonal liberation, I'm no longer thinking like I'm no longer attached to this body, I'm in nothingness. So I've gotten out of suffering. Whereas Srila Prabhupada explains that is where this philosophy starts. This philosophy picks up where everything else ends. Because once we've finally gotten there, we then get to understand who is it that I truly am at my core, and what is it that I'm meant to do, and how do I do it? From my understanding, Nishta is essentially where all the other paths leave. I've heard Nishta is a symptom of Shanta Ras. So Shant meaning peace, Shanti. Although one is free from all material attachments, one is still has no conception of a personal relationship with God. Or in the case of like Prahlad Maharaj is in Shantaras, he doesn't, like, God is completely self-satisfied, so there's no reason to do anything for him. There's no reason to bring Nishringa a glass of water. He's all-powerful. There's no reason for Nishringa to have to protect Nishringa. There's no reason for Prahlad to have to like yell at somebody to like, don't attack Nishringa, He's Nishringa. And so this path, it's so powerful and so potent that it actually like very quickly gets the goal of all other paths, and then brings one to understand what to do now that I've attained that goal. And so let me see what the commentary is. One should endeavor to serve Govinda and not painstakingly try to protect the short-lived temporary body. Sorry, I should just read the commentary first in general. So one should endeavor to serve Govinda and not painstakingly try to protect the short-lived temporary body. So again, did he get Prasadam? Samuki? Some guy, a guest? There's a guest who is here. Would you mind getting him like some books and maybe Prasadam? He just walked out the front door. Yeah. So one should endeavor to serve Govinda and not painstakingly try to protect this short-lived temporary body. So the body is temporary. Most of us try to protect and maintain it. There was a pastime with Narad Muni and a king, and Narad Muni said, okay, what can you take? Can you take this pin with you? And he can't, like a little pin with him to heaven when he leaves. You can't take anything with you. No matter how much one tries to protect this body, which is made of the 5 elements, its destruction is inevitable. Therefore, this text says, O wicked mind, give up performing Ashtanga yoga, physical exercises, and so forth to keep this body fit, and only drink the nectar of Krishna's holy name. Only this nectar can liberate you from the cycle of birth and death. By the mercy of Nam, you will attain the eternal abode of Krishna and a transcendental body suitable for rendering service there. Then you'll be engaged in your Nitya Seva. Cool. Yeah, I'm glad that Anyway, I hope that what I had to say was actually like right and like decent. And I thank you all for being here, listening. I'm praying. Anyway, praying that we all get further along our paths of bhakti. Gaur Premanande. Hare. Do you have questions?
I had two comments. So I didn't know that.
What do you say?
I didn't know this song. Should I turn it? So I didn't know that Guru Mata said that we're serving Radharaman Bihari as kind of like Lakshmi Narayan because they have such a schedule, and it's not as much spontaneous, I think is what you were saying. So that made me think, when I do see them, they're so big. And so it makes me think, oh, they're like so big and grand and opulent, like you were saying. But then when I look at like Radha Govinda, I look at little deities, because they're smaller, my material conception is kind of like, oh, they're small and cute and playful. So I was just agreeing with you on how
I want to say one thing because I want to make this is a thing that I've often heard as criticism of our sangha, and like when we say spontaneous, they still are on a schedule. It's actually about we're maintaining that schedule because we're maintaining the schedule because like that's our duty. We serve them. This is when they get served. This is how it goes. Because we don't have bhav and prem in our hearts to be able to actually engage with them and serve them through those loving exchanges. Yeah, that's the difference. Yeah.
Okay, and also, I wanted, is this for the people on there? Okay. Also wanted to, I was thinking about, what was I thinking? So, I was thinking about how you said, like, your guru also doesn't have a material body. And I think that's really hard for me to understand. Because like I'll see like my Siksha Guru, I saw her, you know, in pain and all these things, and I see Guru Mata sometimes coughing and stuff, and it can be hard for me to be like thinking that she doesn't have a material body. But still, I still love her and I trust her and all these things, but there still is that material conception.
I personally find it like it's like an interesting place. We do want to actually think like, oh, Guru Devi's coughing. I should get her a cough drop, you know? Or like, oh, I feel badly for her. Like, from my understanding, it depends on one's level and one's practice. We want to have that relationship with her that we feel like, oh, this is a person. This is the person who I connect with. This person who I care for. Like that gives us Sukhriyatis. Like when Guru Devi gives the example of if there's like a pure devotee in line at the airport and somebody sees him, is like, oh, this old Indian man, here, please go in front of me. You know, they're not even in any way thinking, oh, this is like a pure sadhu. They're just seeing their external symptoms and thinking, oh, I'm going to be nice to this person. And then they gain Sukhriyatis. They're acting in a way with faith. In the same way, we're gaining a lot by having those feelings and emotions towards her. It's like there's then the faith that she's really in our heart, that she's in our heart, that she can hear us and she can hear our prayers, and that even when this material body, these bodies aren't visible to, when that body isn't visible to our eyes, that we can have just as strong of a relationship as when the material body is visible to our eyes. That's not something that I have any experience with to be able to actually speak on, but anyway, I don't want to make a joke, so. But like it is something that all people who take to this path have to deal with at some point. We have to go through it at some point. At some point, our gurus do leave, and we do have to develop that like internal relationship with them, so we can understand like, oh, you're really you yourself are still here. You yourself are actually in my heart. As crazy as that sounds to me, and as difficult as that is for me, like I can, if I have that faith, and then that I'm willing to take some steps to test it, like in a scientific process, like not like a, okay, I believe it, and then but like, okay, I believe it. Here is what I'm praying to. Here's what I need, and then seeing what happens, and then like we can actually develop that relationship. I've also heard from somebody senior, I don't remember who. It might have even been like a sadhu, so like genuine like proper shastra, is that like after the pure Vaishnav leaves, they're actually become even more accessible for you when you pray. Like there, it's actually even more easy for you to connect with them.
I noticed that when my Siksha Guru left, that, well, when I was helping her, I was just seeing like, oh, she needs me to help her with all these things. But then when she left, I'm like, then I started to see more than just her physical body.
I just realized I need to leave soon, so
Thank you.